We always welcome, I will read this bit, but we haven't got any members of the public working, I don't think, so we always welcome people to speak at the meeting, although this is a formal committee meeting of Eastleigh Borough Council and not a public meeting. This meeting will be recorded and will be uploaded to the Council's website. If you are planning on filming or recording the meeting, then do please let us know so that we can ensure you are not filming members of the public on here. The Chair reserves the right to ask any filming considered intrusive to be stopped. More information is available on the Council's website.
We have apologies for Councillor Craig.
No public participation. Do members have any declarations of interest they wish to make? If so, please indicate now, and when called, please state the nature and reason for the interest. You can, of course, declare any interest as they occur to you in the meeting. No declarations of interest? Thank you very much. We now move to the minutes of the meeting held on the 5th October 2022. Can I now approve these as a true record? Do I have a proposer? Councillor Broadhurst. Do I have a seconder? Those of you that weren't at the last meeting may wish to abstain. So other than that, all agreed. Thank you very much indeed. I would now invite Phil to talk to us about member training and opportunities.
Yes, we had a successful training event last week with a number of you councillors attending as well. It is really vitally important that councillors do attend licensing training if you're going to take part in any decision making or policies and attending meetings such as this. Without the training, it opens in any decisions that could arise from that meeting and open to challenge because people have got to train. So it is vitally important that people do attend that training. We will be arranging a mock-up session. I'm not too sure exactly how that will work at the moment. Contemplate offering it around the county, so it might be another large event, or it might be a little bit more informal than Mr. Forrest and I may not come over here and this session. But when we have those dates, if you have this training, give yourselves an opportunity to attend. So it is important. Catherine and her team will be monitoring to make sure people are appropriately trained according to the set.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Just a quick question, really. And one of the things that I really appreciate about as a councillor for Eastleigh Council is that most things are organised so that even if you're in a full-time traditional hours job, you can participate. That's not the case with licensing because licensing training must be daytime. I appreciate that maybe really the reason why that can't possibly be changed, but I would like it noted that it's an area where, as an Eastleigh Borough councillor, with it does restrict the councillors that can participate in this in licensing.
Yeah, it is a tricky
Yes.
area. You know, like I say, there's a bit of a balancing act there. So we filled up about 5.5 hours worth of talk at that training. To try and do that in an evening, it's difficult to split it across more than one day. Because it all sort of leads into one another, so you tend to lose the thread a little bit. So yeah, it is a bit of a balance out, but certainly I'm sure it's been noted and there'll be discussions how we can best deliver the training program.
Just a thought on that subject. Would it be possible for a video recording to be made of the training?
I was just going through my mind.
Sorry, I thought I'd mentioned it.
As you said it, yes, I think because consider video, the other shortcoming is it gets a little bit interactive, questions get asked through it, and that sort of thing, so you lose a bit lost there, but it is certainly something that we can consider.
Then you could possibly submit questions. matters arising.
I just think if we want the council, for people to participate fully in the council, we need to make sure that members who have different commitments, I mean, for example, in here I could ask those my mother from work, I prefer not to, but there are people who perhaps have jobs that, say, teachers or medical professionals, that just isn't possible. So it would be good if it could be thought about in terms of how to get it so that members of all backgrounds and all occupations are participating.
I mean, it is an issue to be raised before, it's not something that we are ignorant of, and the decision based on training has been made with that in mind, but it is something we will always continue to consider and try and do.
Moving on, we get to the licensing policy 2024-2029, and once again I'll pass over to Phil. I think you've all had copies of the report. I suspect that not all of you have read it all, but anyway, so we'll give us an idea of what's therein.
Thank you. This is to approve the document to go out to consultation. It's incumbent on the Eastborough Council to adopt a licensing, a statement of licensing policy. Without it, it's more or less invalidating the decisions made by the council licensing decisions. So it's important that it does get adopted. In order to adopt it, it needs to go out to consultation to certain individuals, licensing agents, the responsible authorities, and it's also good to do a consultation on that to get public involved as well. So the document's being prepared, it's taking into account the updated guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act. There aren't any significant changes to the policy. It is just a more than minor tweak, so just showing the updates. And so I would ask that that is approved and goes out to consultation. We'll go back to a public consultation for a period of 3 months. We'll then come back. Ultimately, it has to then go for full council to be adopted. We need to do that by January 2024.
Thank you very much indeed, Phil. So, Councillor Pretty.
Yeah, Phil, looking under point 2.7, consultation, and the additional individual organisations, so is it possible to have local councils in there? We have a couple of occasions in Hedgehog and Dealer where licensing applications have come in and we've had residents complaining to the ward councillor who knows nothing about it now. They do have a close involvement with the community. They know might have background information that can feed into the equation. So is that possible to include them, or are they precluded from it?
Are you talking about consultation on this document, or are you talking about consultation applications?
On the applications.
I think that would be difficult. We let councillors know, local councillors know, and the system set up to do that. The danger of then going out to ward councillors is then where do we stop? What do we stop?
You said local councillors know.
Well,
they're the ward councillors I'm referring to, you know.
Yeah.
Not everyone in Heaver, but in Hedgehog North, some occasion for the Shambles Barn, it would be useful for the three of us there to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So we can perhaps give some background information. I wouldn't expect it to go to everybody, but just the locality, that's all.
Like Mr. Board members are notified of applications there, so when an application comes in, send that email.
Because I noticed that the area managers are notified. Sometimes we get heads up from them, sometimes we don't. So it's just really trying to help people to walk down and just appraise what's going on.
Ward councillors will get notified anyway, but not, or should be. And if it's not, then...
I won't refer you to one individual.
I think I know who that is. all councils should get notified anyway. There was a bit of a hiccup with the system at one point, and that has since been corrected. And I think there have been some changes to boundaries, with respect to boundary changes. And so, again, that's quite a big software update that has to go in, so there may have been a little bit of delay there.
As long as you're aware of that.
Yes, again.
Thank you very much indeed, Derek. Does anyone else have any questions?
Can I just ask that people speak up a little bit, because I've got a job to hear what's being said.
Right, thank you. Any more questions? No? Moving on, so do I have a proposer? Seconded. Councillor Pretty, seconder. Tanya? Is there any further debate on this matter? All those in favour then?
Right.
Any against? Any abstentions? No, I think that was all hands then. Thank you very much indeed. And over again, please to Phil, for a report on panel hearings since the last committee meeting.
There have only been 2 panel hearings since the last meeting. One was the Cllr Cricket Club and application for Cllr Premises certificate, where there were 3 public objections on grounds of increased public nuisance. The certificate was granted. As objections relate to behaviour of others not linked to the venue. And the other one was Anderson's News for new premises, which was off licence Challenge Forward area. And again, bids have public representations only, and the licence was granted as a result of that.
Thank you very much indeed. And over to you again. On the Eastleigh Borough Council, Southampton City Council partnership update. I don't think that's, could you explain what partnership is, please, Phil? So for the benefit of the new.
Yeah, certainly. It occurred slightly before my time with the authority. I believe it came around to existence around about 2005, and the Licensing Act and the Gambling Act both came into existence. And Southampton, or rather Eastleigh, entered into a partnership with Southampton for Southampton to deliver the licensing service for the purposes of the Licensing Act and the Gambling Act. Effectively, what that meant was any applications for any of those licences came into offices employed by Southampton City Council. They process those applications. If any need to come before any committees or members, then they prepared those reports and brought those before the Eastleigh members. So Eastleigh retained control of our policy and the decision making with the Southampton officers that were doing the processing and the administration work on that. And that system works quite well. In fact, it still continues to work really well. And then some years back, it was proposed that we took on the taxi aspect of this as well, which we've taken on. That was more challenging. We need to have a presence here, so there are complications around how the IT is going to work, the institution who can delegate decisions, etc. But we have got that set up. Some issues as we go along, but we are working well through them, getting those together. So again, it's we have some Southampton, some officers that are employed by Southampton City Council working out of Eastleigh House, delivering the taxi licensing service. And on top of that, there are some boat licences, both pleasure boats and boating licences that we do for Eastleigh. And I always get confused with street trade and charitable collections. Charitable collections. It's the other one that we use for Eastleigh as well. That's that, yeah. It's not easy to get on. And so that partnership's progressing very well. We were hoping to amalgamate the contracts because they were operating under 3 different contracts. We've amalgamated the Licensing Act and Gambling Act in together. We were going to bring the taxi, boats and everything else in together, but that just proved too difficult. The type of work is very different. So with taxi licensing, we need to be here, and it's very different setup. So if we go to keep that as a separate contract, but we'll have them start and finish on the same days.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Phil on that?
A few months ago, we had a meeting with Nikki and Tim, Councillor, about the arrangement was progressing. Have we reached an agreement between Southampton and the ECD? Are we still negotiating?
I don't think negotiating's quite the right thing. We're just trying to tie up some loose ends in the contracts, effectively. I think we've got an agreement. It's just some of the finer details we just need to be knitting through. The taxi side of it, again, has proved problematic. Taxi licensing has evolved quite a lot over the years since we've been managing this. When we first started, I think there were 2 checks carried out for each driver. We're now in a position where we have to carry out 7 checks for each individual, so that increases the volume of work and hours that we need. It's trying to calculate that and how we set that into the contract.
As long as Councillor Rose and my concerns have been addressed or are being addressed, I think that's all good work.
I'm more than satisfied there.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? No? Before I conclude the meeting, just one word. Oh, sorry, Derek.
I don't know if I can go back a step.
Yeah.
Phil updated us on the licensing applications and so on. Previous meeting, we had an update on complaints regarding acting carriages and taxis. Is that possible?
Sorry, I've got a little bit more information on sort of the applications, etc. that we dealt with. I haven't prepared it on taxes, etc. For the simple reason that last time I did it, I got told at the end of it, we don't deal with taxes in this meeting.
Is that the meeting on Thursday?
Meeting on Thursday, we've got a transport for it. You'll get a full taxi update on that one. What I can add is that since your last meeting on 5th of October last year, the team have processed a total of 259 applications into EC, and they're both the Licensing Act and the Gambling Act. The vast majority are Licensing Act applications. There was 1 new club purchase certificate, which we mentioned there was a hearing for. There were 24 late temporary event notices, 108 temporary event notices, 400 minor variations, 1 notification of interest, 43 new personal licences, 5 new premises licences, 5 transfers of premises licences, and 3 variations of premises licence. Under the Gambling Act, there was 1 alcohol licence permit variation. The permit allows more than 2 gaming machines on the premises. And there's 1 new alcohol licence premises notification that allows premises to have up to 2 gaming machines in their venue. And there were 9 small lotteries approved through that period. There were only 4 complaints were investigated during this time. There were only 4 complaints received and investigated. 3 were to do with Licensing Act. There was a complaint for poor management in premises wearing under 18 and serving alcohol. This premises was visited with follow-up visits as well, and there was no evidence there to support the complaint at all. They were obviously advising of the complaint. There's another complaint, number 18 was left alone working in a cafe. The inquiry revealed that this did in fact happen, but no alcohol was sold at that time, and it was due to unforeseen circumstances. And the manager was found out after the event that took all appropriate action. And then information received that the premises were selling wine without a licence. Effectively, they put an application in for a premises licence, and it sort of jumped the gun a little bit and had the stuff up on display. We'd gone in and said, until you get your licence, remove it, which they did straight away. And then finally, we had a complaint about a club not complying with the regulations on a number of gaming machines and having poker nights. Again, this was investigated by one of the team. The premises was found to be fully compliant. Here's that the complaint was possibly confused because there are slightly different rules for a premises licence compared to a club premises certificate. So there was a thorough check carried out and everyone was found to be in order there. On top of that, officers have been working with environmental health officers dealing with noise-related issues that link to licensed premises as well. So there was nothing significant to report from those.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. That's most helpful. Any other? Yes,
Sorry, sorry to be rather slow, but skipping back to the change to policy. How is the conclusion drawn that there is no impact on the council's climate change and environmental emergency policy? Have you got any information about that, or who should I ask about that?
Sorry, on which?
The changes made to policy, the policy going out to public consultation. There's a line saying that there is no impact on the council's, as I'm sure you know, this Borough Council has declared a climate change and environmental emergency, and therefore any decision that we take has to take that into account. There's a line in the papers saying that no impact on climate change or the environmental emergency arises from processing public consultation.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if I can have more details about how that application is drawn.
I don't know, I voted my problem, and very much not taxing, it is just on the select.
Yes. Thank you.
Anybody else? No? Just before I conclude, for those of you who might not have been at the training, the licensing panel consists of 3 members who have completed the requisite training, and we have got into the habit of having a 4th member as a reserve, started during COVID in case there were technical issues and one person could continue in the meeting. I mention this, I would ask you all to be very alert for communications coming in saying that there is to be a licensing hearing. If you could make a measure to give as quick a response as you can, because quite often it's very short notice that is given. Nobody's fault, I mean, it's because of the legislation that has to be adhered to. But if you could just bear that in mind when these notifications come through. I know it's not always convenient, it's during the daytime, but if you could respond quickly, I'm sure it would help the officers. Thank you very much indeed. I will now conclude the meeting. I would just like to take the opportunity to thank you for listening. And the next meeting will be held on Wednesday, the 18th of October at 6:15. So thank you very much indeed, and good evening.